Bitcoin, Web3, decentralization.
Everything's new and confusing. My goal for this video is to explain Web3 as simply as possible. Take a look at the advantages and disadvantages and show you a practical example of how the internet of the future is very likely to work. To make sure you grasp the key concepts, we need to start way back, to be exact, in 1995. Back then, the internet was in its infancy. You had to be a very tech-savvy person to connect your PC to the internet, and overall only 30% of households even had a computer, but goddamn, the design was kind of fire. In 1995, the internet was mostly read-only, meaning that it mostly consisted of simple HTML websites that you would host on a rented server. As someone exploring the internet, all you could do was download the web page and read information. No mass adoption of login systems, and no social media. Open protocols like email or FTP were being developed. You could host your own email server and send an email to your friend's email server. Also, people used IRC protocol-based chat rooms to communicate. Starting from 2000, the internet was changing at a rapid speed. YouTube, social media, and online shopping found broad adoption. Everyone could suddenly produce content online, get weird trading cards from the other end of the world, or simply connect with people over social media. Users were now able to read and write on the internet. Previously open protocols like email or IRC got implemented in the code of centralized companies, and the company that got the biggest can now define the playground. YouTube is the most popular platform to watch videos, Google Mail is the biggest email provider, and Instagram and Facebook are the most popular social networks. WhatsApp is the most popular messenger, and protocols for file sharing got adopted and repackaged by companies like Google Drive or Dropbox. A content creator on YouTube is now dependent on the central YouTube company. Your own email server is most likely blacklisted by Google Mail as they might think it's spam, or at least they want to pretend it is to extend their market share. Just for reference, Google Mail has 1.5 billion Google Mail accounts nowadays. Instagram is selling your data, you are the product, and unknown algorithms are controlling the platform. Centralized companies have the power to decide who gets big on a platform and who doesn't. We shifted away from the open protocol paradigm to tech giants running the internet, bending the rules to make as much money as possible.
They buy 100,000 shares, that's what I want you to do.
Yeah, fuck you. Now we're moving on to Web3. Web3 is a new evolution of the internet, based upon blockchain technology. Please don't confuse blockchain technology with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency and was built around the first ever blockchain.
In fact, the concept of blockchains was invented by an unknown and mysterious person with the name Satoshi Nakamoto.
But blockchains are fundamentally nothing more than a new form of databases. Decentralized databases, to be exact. Imagine a spreadsheet with certain content.
This spreadsheet contains all recent transactions or changes and is forming the blockchain together with other spreadsheets later.
For example, WTF Web3 equals YouTube channel I have to subscribe to. Or in case of cryptocurrencies, address A wants to send 5 Bitcoin to address B. This information is now spread across the whole network, including thousands of computers. So every computer has a copy of the whole spreadsheet now. Imagine thousands of spreadsheets in a connected chain that are all linked to each other, and you have the concept of the blockchain. Now let's imagine my mean neighbor hates WTF Web3. He now takes a copy of the blockchain on his computer and manipulates the database. He changes it to WTF Web3, YouTube channel you shouldn't subscribe to. Now everyone has a true copy of the database except my neighbor. Because the system is trustless, everyone has to agree on the truth. And we all know that we can't trust my neighbor or any human in general. That's why there is a certain consensus that will make sure that only the real database is getting validated by the majority of the network.
In reality, it's pretty complicated, but the way to validate transactions without the need to trust anyone is the beauty of the blockchain. It just unlocks so many possibilities.
Imagine everyone agreed on the right database, saying WTF Web3 equals YouTube channel you have to subscribe to. My neighbor is now excluded from the network as he tried to cheat, and everyone realized it. Once it's validated, the spreadsheet gets connected to the whole chain of spreadsheets. And actually spreadsheets are called blocks here. If anyone tries to change any block of the blockchain, the whole copy of the blockchain is marked as invalid and just gets excluded from the network. Web3 is using this technology to build a whole new generation of the internet upon that comes with some pretty cool features, but also with some challenges. Do you remember that I talked about Web 2 being about centralized companies that control the internet? In Web 3, that wouldn't be the case anymore, as blockchains are decentralized by nature. They simply don't allow companies to collect your data on centralized servers. It's all on the blockchain, and the blockchain is public and readable for anyone. Before we take a deeper look at the advantages and challenges of Web3, I want to show you really quick how Web3 would look in practice. This is Diamond App, a decentralized version of Twitter. To log into the website, we use a wallet that is basically a universal account on the blockchain. Once we're logged in, we can write tweets and upload videos, just like on Twitter, and our followers can reward us with tips and cryptocurrency, or we can actually buy the token of the creator to support them directly. But the difference is not some fancy token stuff. Because the blockchain, in that case the Diesel blockchain, is completely open for anyone to build upon it. If you don't like the content policy of a particular website, or you don't like the design, or you don't like how it works, you can just use another one that someone else built. In Web3, websites are more a UI than a platform. You just move to another interface, but your following, content and tokens are still there. Pretty much like a universal account for the whole internet that you have full control over.
Sam's ready to explore the best version of the internet. Vote, crowdfund, buy stuff, publish writing, make art, or hire freelancers. What will Sam do first?
You have full control over your own data. In fact, you own it, all the time. Web3 is an innovative space. It's like the internet in 1990. Every year something new comes up, and something else is dying. Here are some important value pairs that we have to keep in mind and balance very carefully while we are building Web3. The first one is control versus moderation. While every user in Web3 is controlling its own content, which is pretty cool, we also have to make sure that malicious actors don't use it as a platform for illegal stuff. Furthermore, we have to make sure that we balance transparency versus privacy. While some people like having their information public on the blockchain, others actually don't. Regulation is also very important. In recent years, especially the crypto space has been a playground for speculation, for scams and for rug pulls that got the whole field a bad reputation. We need to balance the fastly innovating space with great regulation guidelines. In my opinion, one of the coolest aspects of Web3 is controlling your own online identity. But with that empowerment, you also have to take responsibility for keeping your assets safe and just acting on yourself and the whole web. And there's also one enormous challenge that we have to face in the next couple of years. In fact, we are already facing that challenge in Web 2, and it's the community versus tribalism conflict. Isolated communities create the danger of people finding themselves in echo chambers. It can also create a culture of groupthink, where dissenting opinions are silenced or dismissed. So we always have to make sure to keep those things in mind. Web3 will continue to strive for innovation in the upcoming years, although we are still at the beginning, and no one knows for sure if the technology will get broad adoption. But it will definitely be an interesting place to hang out. I hope I could give you some guidance with this video. Please make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel and write any questions you have in the comments.